That smells grim. What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we're here for some more Need for Speed talk because there's a few things I've seen on the internet, a few misleading stories, and I want to kind of set the tone straight. I'm kind of going to be talking about one YouTuber specifically. I saw one of in my subscription box. I'm subscribed to a guy called Marco, and he does the Division style content, and he made a video about this guy called Clean Prince Gaming. Now, he's known for doing commentaries on, you know, certain topics, you know, like whether it be like Need for Speed, COD, Fortnite, whatever. And he basically does gaming essays on these different games, and it's very, very clear if you watch any of his videos that they're not really that well researched. They're kind of, he doesn't really play these games, he's not really a fan of these series, and obviously me being a racing person, I'm going to talk about Need for Speed because that's kind of the main thing which is going to be, you know, of most interest. He made a 16-minute video that's currently sitting on 600,000 views around a month ago, and I actually commented on this a month ago saying you don't know what you're talking about. And he basically talked about Need for Speed and how it's gonna die and how it's gone downhill and stuff, and there's just so many things in this video that are wrong and so many misconceptions which quite clearly people believe because this video doesn't have any dislikes, or, you know, it's obviously on loads of views, loads of likes, and there's so many things which are inherently wrong with this. That's what I want to talk about today. Is you're wrong on pretty much everything you've said. Now, I do want to say there's a few things which I do agree with. The loot boxes or the, you know, the shipments in Payback, they're not a thing which are player friendly at all. But what you said about them was wrong, but the premise was right, if that makes sense. You basically said they were bad, but you said they were bad for the wrong reasons. The same reasons IGN gave a bad review score to Need for Speed Payback. Although I agree with the review score, I don't agree with the reasons they gave for that review score. But don't get me wrong, there's a few things here and there, because they're overly generalized, you know, they apply. Statements like, and this one made me laugh, he goes,
"It was all, again, fun, and that was the focus. Just make the driving fun." The developers will say it time and time again in interviews, it's the only thing they cared about.
I never knew developers made games for them not to be fun.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and just talk about some of the things that he mentioned in that video that I feel like people believe about Need for Speed, which are just not true. Things like the series is going to die and shit because it's just retarded. And I kind of want to talk about a few of those things now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight to it. Number one. He mentioned a lot of stuff about Fast and Furious. He basically said the last few installments of the game were very, very heavily Fast and Furious based. That is clearly wrong. Need for Speed 2015 was very much more centered around urban car culture. If every game that's made around urban car culture is Fast and Furious, then that's ignorance more than it is actually being Fast and Furious. The only recent, you know, game that was a Fast and Furious type game was Payback. Since then, the last one was what? Need for Speed Underground 2? Like, I wouldn't say Most Wanted or Carbon were necessarily kind of Fast and Furious type games. You know, the last one would have been all those years ago, and Fast and Furious was a very, very different franchise back then. He then goes to mention that 2002 to 2013 was the golden era.
2002 to 2013, an 11-year span, a Need for Speed game would release every single year. Need for Speed Underground, Need for Speed Most Wanted, the Hot Pursuit reboot, Need for Speed was at the top of the arcade racing world.
Very, very clear if you're in this community, if you played those games at all, you'll know that that is not the case. I don't think it takes a genius to realize that the golden era, even if you just purely look at sales, like, it's so clear he's not done his research. If you look at sales from Hot Pursuit 2, when Black Box first came in, to 2006, when Carbon, you know, came and stuff, that period is the golden era of Need for Speed. Some would argue it started at Underground, but, you know, generally, it's around 2002 to 2003 to 2006. Not 2002 to 2013. What game even came out in 2013? Fucking Most Wanted came out in 2013. What are you talking about? It's quite clear, like, there's no research being done here, and, you know, this goes for more than just Need for Speed. There's a whole channel, and he's not the only one. There's a few other channels that do this. You know, this goes for, I'm looking at the channel now, like, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Fortnite, Far Cry, Battlefield 1, God of War, and it seems like a lot of the EA censored videos are kind of to paint this picture of EA in a really bad light. Now, don't get me wrong, EA have done a lot of bad things, and I completely get why people don't like them, but people make, like, it's so clear that there's a picture that's being painted here which just simply isn't correct. I'm going to carry on some of the absolute bullshit that was spewed in this video, because there's a lot more.
You know what happens when one series manages to oversaturate one market almost by itself? The consumer becomes fatigued on that series and sales slow to a near stop.
But anyone again who's followed the series will know that Need for Speed 2015 was the most successful Need for Speed in years. For that matter, Payback I'm pretty sure sold well as well, so that completely goes against what you were saying. And obviously Payback has microtransactions, so from EA's perspective, probably did a lot better than we saw it, you know, at a surface level. Statements like Carbon and Pro Street and The Run are semi-unique ideas, but I'm pretty sure Carbon was like one of the best selling in the series. And shout out to the fact that, you know, my video was used in that video without any, you know, like, credit or anything. They just want to say that. This motive of trying to paint EA like a bad guy is something which you'll find throughout all the videos. I'm one person to constructively, like, analyze something at a neutral perspective. I believe EA have done many bad things, but at the same time, they've brought me some of my favorite games of all time. And I can look at everything, you know, with a clear slate. Need for Speed 2015 being always online helped that game tons. And then he seemed to think that Need for Speed Payback was always online when it wasn't. It was offline. So again, lack of research. It's just one of those things. I get people are trying to paint EA in a bad light, but they really aren't that bad. At least with Need for Speed, let me clear that up. You know, with 2015, he didn't talk about the fact that got free DLC. One of the first games in this current wave to do free DLC was Need for Speed. With Payback, obviously things have changed, and I'm sure they know. I'm sure they're very clear. They very know, you know, the guys over at Ghost know that Payback was not, you know, a success in the community's eyes.
Now, it's certainly possible EA keeps the series going, but EA has shown recently that no franchise, no developer, no studio is anything but expendable.
Need for Speed is hitting its 25th anniversary next year, 25 years. That could possibly be longer than the FIFA series. It's one of their, like, longest going series, one of the series which has been going on for the longest. Why on earth would you cancel a household name that has been going for 25 years, which is one of your staple franchises that has brought you millions and millions and millions of dollars over the years, and it's a recognizable name? No, Need for Speed isn't gonna die. People who think that, you seriously need to start thinking for yourself, because it's quite clear to me that maybe Ghost could get canned, and I don't want to see that, because Ghost have done a really good job considering they're understaffed, etc, etc, but maybe that could happen. We saw it happen with Black Box, and that wasn't a fun time. You know, Black Box made some of the greatest Need for Speeds of all time, but they did get canned, so maybe the studios are. But in terms of Need for Speed and the actual franchise itself, trust me, Need for Speed is not going anywhere. These commentary channels are spreading the wrong message, you know. When you've got people like me, people like Theo, people like Jay, people like Crowned, you know, people like, I don't even know, like pretty much everyone in this community, yeah, who's trying to bust their ass off to promote positive shit and promote things which actually need to be fixed. And then you've got channels like this spewing shit like competitive esport racers don't exist. He alluded to that in that video. You play... I guess the main point in this video is just to think for yourself. Don't believe these commentary channels for everything at face value, because, you know, this has taken me 10 minutes to completely decipher the whole of that video. You want to know the reason why Need for Speed is in the current space it is? Lackluster games. That's it. There's no like motive behind it. It's lackluster games that are poorly made. That is why. Sales-wise, etc, etc, the series is doing fine, but even with the lackluster games, they're still listening to us, and that is something which people seem to forget an awful lot. Even though Payback was a lackluster game, people seem to forget that a lot of shit they fixed, and I don't know, that really does annoy me. So if you really want to know what happened to Need for Speed, you know what I'll go ahead and do is I'll link my fucking documentary down in the description, because there you have an hour and 50-minute long documentary which explains everything you need to know. And I also do want to say that in this video specifically, the one that I'm targeting, a lot of it was read off the Need for Speed wiki. And the only reason why I know that is because I did a bit of that for the documentary. Difference with me though is I've owned every Need for Speed game ever. And, you know, I've been here for a while. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Yeah, take everything you see with a pinch of salt. Need for Speed is not dead. Please stop saying it. It's just getting on my nerves now. But that's been it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe and peace.
forever.